The Locked Chest. This is a story written by Satyajit Ray. He was a famous writer, filmmaker, and he has written many suspense stories. The Locked Chest is one of them. Now let us see first what is the meaning of the word chest. Here in this story, the chest does not mean the top part of your body. Here the chest means a large strong box that is used for storing things. Okay, you may write in your copy or in your book with pencil so that you can remember it. Now let's begin our story. Feluda and his cousin Tapesh have received a letter from Kalinkar Majumdar. He is an elderly man who lives in a village called Gurgutia. Now here elderly means you can understand it is referring here to old, that he was an old man who lives in a village called Gurgutia. He asked them to visit him at his home as he has a special reason for asking. So Mr. Kalinkar Majumdar, he invited Feluda and his cousin Tapesh to his town, and Feluda and Tapesh traveled to his home, an old mansion in the village, to meet him. Then let's start. The room we stepped into was quite large. It might have seemed even larger had it not been stuffed with so much of furniture. So the writer here says that the room, when they entered in the old man's room or house, they noticed that it was a very big room. And if there would be less furniture, then it would look more big. Nearly half of it had been taken up by a massive bed. So massive bed, and there was a one large and heavy bed also lying in the room. An old man was lying on the bed, a blanket drawn up to his chin. So they saw an old man was lying on the bed when they entered in the house, and when they entered in the house to meet Mr. Kalinkar. And a blanket was over him up to his chin. In the flickering light of a candle, I saw that he was smiling at us. So in the flickering light, the light of a candle was waving and moving. And in that light, Feluda, here I is referred to Feluda because they are invited to meet Mr. Kalinkar. So he said that I can see that he was smiling at us. Then he said please sit down, to both of them. Thank you. This is my cousin Tapesh. Then Mr. Feluda introduced his cousin to the old man. I wrote to you about him, Feluda said. Mr. Majumdar smiled again and nodded in reply to my namaskar. Nodded, you know what is the meaning of nodded? Nodded here means to move head in order to show yes, like जैसे हम कई बार अपने expressions हम अपने head को nod करके show करते हैं. If you are yes, then you will move your head from right to left or left to right, like saying no. And when you mean to say yes, then you nod your head. That means you move your head up and down to show yes. So that is why it is written here, the nodded. So that means Mr. Majumdar nodded in reply to namaskar of Mr. Feluda. He took the chairs nearest to the bed. We took the chairs nearest to the bed. Now, my letter must have made you curious, Mr. Majumdar said lightly. So now who is talking? Mr. Majumdar is talking, and he said to Mr. Feluda that you must have received my letter and it might made you curious. You must be wanted to know that why I have called you. Yes, it certainly did. Then Feluda says, yes, you are correct.